Sometimes life seems to be full of uncertainty. Things happen that we cannot explain or understand, and we do not know where our lives are headed. We struggle, we work, and put in our best, but things just don't work out. With rumors of wars and economic crises and all the mishaps that surround us, we live every day in anxiety and fear because we do not know what the future holds. If you're in such a moment, do not listen to the voice of doubt and fear. Know that the Lord your God is the author of your life and destiny, and He is working all things to bring you to an expected end. We read the story of Ruth in the Bible, and it is a message from God to you at this very moment in your life. Ruth's tale begins with heartache, loss, and despair. Her husband dies while she's in her prime, and her life already looks bleak and gray. Her mother-in-law seeks to return to Bethlehem, and Ruth decides to follow her, not because she knew that it was going to be well, but because she was committed to her mother-in-law. We've been on such journey many times before. As we live our lives, something unexpected happens that destroys our labors and hopes, and we are left wondering why. With no expectation for the future, we try to push on to find a new path amidst trepidation, doubt, and fear. We wonder, just as Ruth surely did, about the meaning of our tribulations and if there is a purpose of our suffering. We question whether there is a grand design at work, or if our existence is a mere play of chance and chaos. Yet, it is precisely in these moments that Ruth's story calls us to look beyond the broken pieces of our lives and to open our eyes to see that even in our darkest hours, a divine plan is unfolding. It was in Bethlehem, a land foreign to Ruth, that her life began to take shape and come together in the most beautiful of ways. It does not start smoothly. In fact, things seem to get worse for Ruth and her mother-in-law as they had to glean corn from the fields to survive. Imagine the thoughts that must have plunged her mind. She had left all she knew and had come to serve the God of the Jews, but nothing was working out. She was a young widow and no one would want her. She had no connections that she could rely on for strength. In those cornfields, the most unexpected of places, she meets Boaz, who shows her favor and kindness that becomes a lifeline and a source of hope in the sea of uncertainty. We all can testify to having those moments when we look for a sign or a miracle that God cares about us and we get a random act of kindness or something works out that gives us a glimmer of light on the horizon. Do you think those are coincidences? They are messages from the Lord telling you not to give up, but to know that there is hope and a path that He's leading you towards. We can see that Ruth's life was not merely a series of random events. There was a guiding hand behind the scenes, orchestrating circumstances and turning the tide in her favor. Imagine Ruth's first meeting with Boaz. It seemed ordinary and like it had no significance, but it was a key event in bringing to pass all that God had planned for Ruth. Boaz came into her life in the time of her greatest need and played the role of the kinsman redeemer and a savior who married the young widow. Boaz's coming into Ruth's life was not a mere coincidence. It was a part of a greater plan, a plan that can often remain concealed to our limited perspective. The story doesn't end with her marriage. It extends far into the future. But Ruth became a key figure in the lineage of King David, one of Israel's greatest kings. And even more astonishingly, she played a role in the lineage of the Messiah. Ruth's story is an exquisite tapestry of redemption and purpose. Her life, as unassuming as it might have seemed at the outset, became a critical thread in the grand narrative of salvation. It is a reminder to us that even in our darkest hour, we are on the brink of something great. We may not see it, we may not feel it, but God's hand is always at work, subtly and yet undeniably shaping our futures. As we live in hours and days, we do not see how one path leads to another, how one decision today can set the ball rolling for 1,000 blessings. And that is why we give up too quickly. We give up when we don't see results instantly. We quickly lose our hope and faith in the all-powerful and all-seeing God because we think that God is limited as we are, and He is not involved in our lives. You must learn to see God in all of His goodness and mightiness. He is the one who holds times and seasons in His hands. In a moment, in a twinkle of an eye, He can change the entire course of your life. The Lord your God holds your life, and He will not let you go under, nor will He fail. He picks the beggar and makes him the child of a king. He sets the poor and lowly as princes. This God has your life in His hands, and He holds it all together. He plots the course of our life like a master script writer who turns the events of our lives to a favorable end. Do you think that you have made terrible mistakes and have lost your way? God has you in His hand, and He will reroute you back to His plan. Do you think that all hope is lost? God is the one who makes a path in the sea and brings springs of water in the desert. He will make a way. Do not judge your life solely from your limited vantage point. It's a reminder that our darkest moments when everything seems to be in shambles, can be the very place where God begins to work His miracles. The moments that appears insignificant, the people who enter our lives seemingly by chance, may be part of a divine plan, a plan that, when realized, can transform our despair into hope, our uncertainty into purpose, our trials into triumphs, our losses into legacies, and our despair into destiny. As we contemplate the pages of Ruth's life, it is clear that the overarching theme here is one of trust. Trust in God's divine plan, even in the face of despair, doubt, and overwhelming odds. It is a trust that calls us to hold steadfast to our faith, even when life seems intent on pulling us under the waves of worry, shame, anxiety, and fear. When we entrust our lives to the divine author, we allow Him to craft a story that exceeds our imagination. When life seems to be chaotic, know that there is a greater design at play. God's guiding hand will turn the pages of your life and direct you towards a future you may not yet see. Your life will be shaped into a story of glory and beauty when you have faith in the ultimate author of your life's narrative. Let hope rise from the ashes, knowing that God is the master author who will transform the darkest days and broken things into a future filled with glory and beauty.